So yeah, after scripting a video script, then starting work on a Death Note video, to then not working on it for months, I'm finally back with a new video. And that as well starting to cover what the scrapped script was. And that is on Doctor Who Series 1, Well of Modern Who. Yep, I'm going to be covering every season of this modern era of the show, all the way from Eccleston to Gatwa. Well, let's just dive right in. This was the first series of a revival of the British sci-fi programme well named Doctor Who, which began on the 26th of March 2009 with the episode titled Rose. This marked it as the end of the show's 16-year absence following its cancellation in 1989. To be fair, we did have some Who content in between, but overall this is a major comeback for the show. This had an almost 3-month run, with the final episode titled The Parting of Ways broadcast on the 18th of June. This is all thanks to showrunner Russel T Davies, which I'll be getting onto later on in the video. This series had 13 episodes, 8 which Davies wrote. Julie Garner and Mal Young served as executive producers, who ran alongside him, with Phil Coulson also being a producer. So, unlike the classic era of the show, the plan for the series was to have each episode be a standalone story. Overall, 7 of these episodes followed this plan, with the remaining 6 serving as two-part stories. It was also the first time since the original 3rd season since episodes were given an individual title. Look, I'm not going to go through each plot of each episode, but here's what the season essentially gives us. This introduces and also says goodbye to the 9th Doctor, along with the long-running companion Rose Tyler being introduced. The overall arc and story is to use the bad words Bad Wolf being spread across time and space. This was done by the entity of Rose with the name Bad Wolf, which was created once Rose looked into the heart of the TARDIS and the Time Vortex. They did this to create a sign to herself that she was linked to the Doctor, creating a looped paradox. It also gives us the first major info about the last Great Time War. We get introduced to Jack Harkness, who is being a long-lasting character to the franchise. Then, of course, in the final episode, it gives us our first regeneration of this era, with the introduction of David Tennant as the 10th Doctor.
Can't con an honest man, but a dishonest man. Now he gets what he deserves.
83-year-old Tennant blocking the deal, so I ran over the catch.
When called to recast the Doctor, the promotional team initially approached film stars such as Hugh Grant and Rowan Atkinson for the role. It was Young who suggested Christopher Eccleston to Davies. The actor was one of the only 3 left in the running. The other 2 actors that had been rumoured to have been were Alan Davies and Bill Nighy. The announcement of this casting was announced on the 20th of March 2004. Davies would further confirm this in the April issue of Doctor Who magazine. He also revealed that the actor asked for the role via email, while also confirming that Richard E. Grant as the Schalke Doctor was no longer canon until, well, recent events. Eccleston's contract was only for 1 single year due to uncertainty of the show actually being able to continue after the 1 series. His intent to leave the show was revealed on the 30th of March 2005, shortly after the airing of the first episode. The BBC released a statement, I guess in fear, that said that the actor was scared of becoming typecast. However, on the 4th of April, they redacted the statement and admitted that they released it without his consent. Even then, they broke an agreement made in January to not disclose that the rumour was even true. Finally, 5 years later, the actor revealed that he left because he did not enjoy the environment of the set, particularly with how his fellow cast and crew had to work, though he did say he was still proud of playing the role. Going back in time to the Doctor Who magazine November 2003 issue, Davies revealed that the new company would probably be called Rose Tyler. This was then confirmed in the March 2004 issue, along with the info that the former pop star Billie Piper was being considered for the role. Piper was finally announced to be playing the role on the 24th of May 2004. Georgia Moffat, daughter of the 5th Doctor, Peter Davison, and would later appear in the show herself, also auditioned for the role. The original concept of the character was completely different. Paul Abbott was scheduled to write an episode of the series where it would be revealed that her entire life had been manipulated by the Doctor to mold her into the ideal companion. However, Davies eventually wrote the episode Boomtown, which replaced that one, since Abbott realised he was too busy to work on the script. Thank God for that. The characters of Adam Mitchell and Henry Van Staten were first conceived in a pitch that Davies made to the BBC. This was heavily based on Robert Sheeman's audio play titled Return of the Daleks. The production team intended for Adam to join the two on the TARDIS after Rose developed a liking for him. To play the role, Bruno Landley was chosen, most likely from his role on Coronation Street. He was never intended to be a long-term companion. Davies wanted to show that not everyone was suited to join the Doctor, and they dubbed him as the companion that couldn't. John Barrowman plays Captain Jack, who was introduced in The Empty Child, where he joined the crew for the final 5 episodes. When naming the character, Davies drew inspiration from the Marvel character Agatha Harkness, which is pretty cool. His character arc was created to show a coward transforming into a hero. Barrowman was a key factor in the creation of the character. He has gone on to say that when he was initially cast, both Davies and Garner explained that they wrote the character around him. When trying out for the character, he used his native Scottish accent, an American accent, and an English accent. When it came to casting the 10th Doctor, Tennant was offered the role when he was watching a pre-transmission copy of the series with Davies and Garner. The actor thought it was a joke at first, but once he realised they were being serious, he accepted. The announcement of this was made on the 16th of April 2005. Other recurring characters for the series included Callie Caldodi as Jackie Tyler, who was Rose's mum, and Noel Clarke as Mickey Smith, who was Rose's boyfriend.
So, not long to wait before the Doctor's arrival here on BBC One, but what's in store in his new dimension? The build-up begins now as we go behind the scenes of something very special.
During the late 90s, Davies, who was a lifelong fan, asked many times for the BBC to revive the show, and reached discussion stages with them in 1998 and then 2002. His proposals were to transmit it from videotape to film, double in length of the episodes from 25 minutes to 50, keeping the Doctor mostly on Earth and removing things such as Gallifrey and the Time Lords, which, to be fair, that part didn't really last. His pitch was competing against 3 others, which were Dan Freeman's fantasy retelling of the classic show, Matthew Graham's Gothic-style pitch, and Mark Gatiss, Clayton Hickman and Gareth Roberts' reboot. In August 2003, the BBC had resolved issues regarding the production's rights that had surfaced due to the joint collaboration between them, Universal and Fox, which was for the 1996 film. After this, controller of BBC One, Laureline Hegarty, and controller of drama commissioner Jane Tardner approached Garner and Davies to create a revival to air in the primetime slot on Saturday nights. By mid-September, they accepted the deal to produce the series alongside Davies' other show named Casanova. Following the scream of Schalke, the announcement of the revival was put on a press release on September 26, 2003. By early 2004, the show had settled into a regular production cycle. Keith Boak, Iris Lynn, Joe Harney, Brian Grant and James Oars directed episodes. Davies in his official role as showrunner consisted of laying a plot for the entire series, holding tone meetings to identify tones of each episode, and overseeing all aspects of production. He was actually interested in making an episode that would be a crossover with Star Trek Enterprise, and involved the TARDIS landing on board of the NX-01. The idea was officially discussed, but plans were abandoned after the cancellation of Enterprise in February 2005. As mentioned, 8 scripts were written by Davies, the remainder being allocated to experienced drama writers or previous writers of previous Who projects. Stephen Moffat wrote the 2-episode story of The Empty Child, while Mark Gatiss, Robert Sheeman and Paul Cornell each wrote other episodes. Davies approached his friend Paul Abbott and author J.K. Rowling to write, but they both declined. Well, thank fuck J.K. Rowling actually dropped out, because who wants her these days? Shortly after securing writers for the series, Davies stated that they had no intention to approach writers of the original series. The only one that he wished was Robert Holmes, who died in May 1986, as they were halfway through writing The Trial of a Time Lord. Ellen Rowland and Helen Rayner served as script editors. They were both hired at the same time, making it the first time the show had females in this role. Davies made sure that this series had a faster pace than the classic show. He took cues from American fantasy shows such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Smallville. The stories of each episode varied in tone. This was so the production team could showcase the various genres inhabited into the franchise. The episode Boomtown included a reference to the novel The Monsters Inside, becoming the first episode to actually acknowledge other fiction of the franchise. Filming began on the 18th of July 2004 in Cardiff for the episode Rose. The series was filmed across South East Wales, mostly in or around the city. Each episode took around 2 weeks to film. The start of filming actually created stress among the team because of unseen circumstances. Several scenes from the first block had to be reshot because the original footage was so unstable. The film concluded on the 23rd of March 2005. Tennant recorded his appearance on the 21st of April 2005 with a skeleton crew. Damn, 1 day away from my birthday.
With the Doctor about to burst on our screens, our cameras went behind the scenes to witness the launch of the new series.
The brand new series.
I thought it was brilliant. I used to say in the Radio Times, Doctor Who, an adventure in space and time. That's all it is.
Ready for this? Here we go. History.
Murray Gold composed this series with his main theme featuring samples from the classic show with further elements added, which were the sound of low horns, strings, a sound of a Dalek ray gun, and TARDIS sound effects. He has said that this interpretation was driven by the visual title sequence he was given to work around. Selected pieces from this series, the second and the special The Runaway Bride, were released on the 4th of December 2006 by Silver Screen Records. The songs from the first series were re-recorded by the BBC National Orchestra of Wales.
This is the year 5 billion. And this is the day. Hold on. Welcome to the end of the world.
The new logo for the show was revealed on the BBC website on the 18th of October 2004. The first official trailer was released as a part of the company's Winter Highlights presentation on the 2nd of December and posted on the internet at the same time. Billboards and posters were put up across the country in early March 2005. TV trailers started showing up on the 5th of March, and radio had started 2 weeks just before the series premiere and ran till the second episode aired. An early edit of the premiere was actually leaked 3 weeks ahead of schedule. This attracted much media attention and discussions between fans, which caused interest in the show to go even more massive. The BBC released a statement that the source was connected to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, which responded saying that they were looking into it, though Asa Bailey, founder of the Viral Advertising Association, said that the BBC hired them for marketing strategies, where he told them that releasing things ahead of time would create a cool factor. The companies would deny this, but Bailey truly believes that this was the best viral advert that they could have done, though the leak was ultimately traced back to a third-party company in Canada, which had a preview copy. The employee responsible was then fired. As mentioned, Rose aired on schedule on the 26th of March 2005 at 7 PM on BBC One. To complement the series, BBC Wales also produced Doctor Who Confidential, a 13-part documentary series, with each episode airing on BBC Three immediately at the end of an original episode from the show. Davies originally wanted the first 2 episodes to air back-to-back, but the request was only given to the company just 2 weeks before transmission. At that point, the whole schedule was already set. In most regions, the first few minutes of Rose was actually ruined by an accidental mixing of a few seconds of Graham Norton hosting Strictly Dance Fever. In the US, the Sci-Fi Channel originally passed on the new series as it found it lacking what they believed would fit onto their schedule, but they then changed their minds. It would then begin airing on March 17, 2006, with this time the first 2 episodes actually airing back to back. For home release, it was put in different volumes. The first contained the first 3 episodes, which were released on the 16th of May 2005. The second contained the next 3 episodes, which were released on the 13th of June 2005. The third contained the next 3 episodes, which were released on the 1st of August 2005. Then finally, the last 3 episodes were released on the 5th of September 2005. The entire series was then released in a box set on the 21st of November 2005. It was also included commentaries on each episode, video diaries from Davies during the first week of filming, and more. The box set was then released in the US on the 4th of July 2006.
Join Captain Jack Harkness and Rose Tyler as they come face to face with the evil Slitheen and Space Pig. Be scared as the Daleks reveal their mutant within. Run from the living plastic autons and learn the truth from the face of Bo. Doctor Who Series 1 action figures and other playsets.
From character.
The premiere of Rose had an average overnight ratings of 9.9 million viewers, peaking at 10.5 million. The final figure for the episode, including recordings watched within a week of air, was 10.81 million, making it the third highest for BBC One that week and the seventh across all the company's channels. The episode Bad Wolf received the lowest views of the series with 6.81 million views. The success of launch made the BBC head of drama Jane Tartner confirm on the 30th of March that the series would return for both a 2005 Christmas special and a full second series in 2006. Whereas when it came to the Sci-Fi Channel, America reached 1.5 million viewers. Review website Rotten Tomatoes gives this series a 83% overall from 12 critics. The revival impressed former Doctor Sylvester McCoy, who praised Eccleston and Piper as well as other cast members, and the pacing of the first episode. His only real critique was the interior design of the TARDIS and how the music only had a bit of that hint of the classic show. Even though the series was heavily praised, not everyone was pleased. Some fans criticised the new logo and changes to the TARDIS. Apparently members of production team received hate mail and death threats over this. Bit pathetic, lads. The episode The Unquiet Dead was criticised by parents who felt it was a bit too scary for children. The BBC dismissed these complaints, saying that the series was never intended for younger children. The show was nominated for 33 awards and won 23, which were for its moments, drama, acting, villains, direction, production and writing.
You've seen how dangerous it is. Do you want to go home?
Doctor Who Week starts next Sunday at 7 on UK TV Gold.
This series puts a lot of distance between itself and the classic show's stories, mainly to appeal to new fans, and to also avoid being shackled by these stories. Of course, it still exists in the same continuity, but it very much makes sense to do things as it wants. This creates the 9th Doctor, who is bubbly and eccentric due to survivor's guilt, following the extinction of his own people. Even with its format of having a different story each episode or two, this is still very much character driven and an overarching story. It of course eases into this. On a rewatch value it's very good until of course you reach the final 2 episodes. The episodes overall are varying in quality but mostly are good. Very much peaks in its first episodes thanks to introducing the Doctor and Rose. The effects are also mixed in aging, but again this is a BBC show with no support from Disney in the 2000s, so it gets a pass from me. I think it also was very smart to make most episodes be on Earth for this reason, but also to make it more grounded. Eccleston was a perfect fit for the Doctor. He has a wit as mentioned, but also a dark edge which really fits the Time War, and also just this era in general, to be fair. What makes Rose work so great as a companion is that she has great supporting characters, with no messed up background, and you get a real good feel of the estate she grew up on. She is just an ordinary girl, an ordinary human, who people can relate a lot to. The character herself also created this era, to be honest. Honestly, I don't get how people can really skip this series. So yeah, that's the end of this first video of this fairly long series we're getting into. Not sure when the series 2 video will come out, but you know, I'm feeling very optimistic because I wouldn't say it's been like a week or like a few days, but it hasn't been long since I actually started making this video. And I'm really getting into the motivation of making stuff again, giving myself about 1 or 2 hours a day when I've been working, and as much time as I really want to when I have days off. So it's looking good so far because it's been fairly quick making this video and I've enjoyed it. I really would love to hear like some other facts about the making of series 1, if there's any others out there. And also I'd love to really hear people's thoughts, because as most as I can hear, this is a series that most people like, but you never know, there might be the off chance someone doesn't like it, and I'm really interested to just know varying opinions really. Haven't really got anything too much else to say, so yeah, I'll see you with that series 2 video.